Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to Anatomy and Physiology with Dr. Flanagan. Let's go ahead and we're going to do the arm muscles today. The arm muscles are really cool, so let's try to get through it. I think I'm going to start with the hardest part, okay, which is going to be the forearm, and then we'll work our way back. Okay, so let's get down here into the forearm. I'm going to get a little close here. Do a little zoom in action. All right, so just if you can see the back of the hand like that, above this is called the posterior forearm. And if you look at the palm of the hand, okay, if you're looking at the palm of the hand, this is the anterior part of the forearm, okay? And we're gonna start here on the anterior side, okay? And if you remember, we're gonna go pass, fail, okay? And so it goes like this, it goes pass, pass, and then fail is all the way around here. Okay, so P, F, P, F. Okay, it goes Pronator Teres. Okay, the next one over, Flexor Carpi Radialis. This radialis is running along the thumb side, which is where the radius is below. So Flexor Carpi going to the wrist. So you can see it ends kind of in the wrist here, or inserts on the wrist. Okay, and so there it is. So Flexor Carpi Radialis. Okay, then the next one over, number 24 here, label is number 24. That is the Palmaris Longus, so P, and then we go back to the F. Okay, that is going to be Flexor Carpi, and that's going to the pinky side, so that's Ulnaris, Flexor Carpi Ulnaris. All right, so pass, fail, pass, fail, pass, fail, pass, fail. There they are. Those are the superficial compartment, those four muscles across the top there. And then in between, just here, there's this intermediate muscle, that little skinny one. And you see on this side of the pin, its label is 26. It's 26 on that side. It's one muscle, nice big flat muscle. That is the intermediate compartment is Flexor Digitorum Superficialis. Okay, right there. Now, so if I want one of these muscles on the practical, I'm going to put the pin up high, okay, near the numbers. And if I want this muscle on the practical, I'll leave this compartment on. I'll leave this whole superficial compartment on, and I'll put the pin either like here or maybe over here. I'll try to avoid the tendon, so I'll go somewhere in between there like that. The thing I don't do is I don't take this off and put it on the table and mark it on the backside. That's technically the best view of the Flexor Digitorum Superficialis. But I don't tend to do it like that, right? Oh, and sorry about the sideways view here. I'll try to turn it back so that we have the horizontal or the up and down view. All right, now we're in the deep compartment though. So let's get down into this deep compartment. The deep compartment are the fist muscles, okay? So all of these are gonna have, or like the punching muscles, they're the muscles that help us make a fist, okay, and throw a punch. So in order to throw the punch, we have to first flex the fingers, okay? So we're gonna have the Flexor Digitorum Profundus, just means deep, which is this muscle here, number 27. Goes like this all the way down the forearm and into the fingers. It's going to help us close our fingers to make a fist. Okay, then the next muscle that we're going to reference here is the Flexor Pollicis Longus. Flexor Pollicis Longus brings our thumb in when we were trying to make a fist. Okay. Okay, and then the next muscle we're going to talk about is nice and deep here, all the way down there is the Pronator Quadratus. That's labeled here as number 29, the Pronator Quadratus muscle. That's the last of the muscles that help us throw a punch. So we have Flexor, so it's like your hands like this, right? And then we have Flexor Digitorum Profundus, okay? Then we have the Flexor Pollicis Longus, and then we have the Pronator Quadratus so that we can throw the fist like that. And so it goes in that order in the model here. So we go this one right here, this first one, that is the Flexor Digitorum Profundus. Then we have the Flexor Pollicis Longus, and then all the way down here, this little guy right there is a Pronator Quadratus. Okay, and that gives us the anterior portion of the forearm. Okay, let's go for the posterior forearm. Here, there's a bunch of muscles in the superficial compartment. You can kind of see them wrapping around like this. Okay, all those numbers that go all the way around the forearm on the anterior side. Okay, and these are the ones that we use the beer lifting, breakdancing muscles unless atrophied. Okay, so all the way around here, this first one labeled here as number 19. That is going to be the brachioradialis. Okay, so brachioradialis muscle, and I'll try to hold it like this. So brachioradialis is the first one. Then the next one over is the extensor carpi radialis longus. Okay, that's the longest part here. The L is the lifting. So we have beer, lifting, the longus, and extensor carpi radialis longus. Okay, the next one over, this little number down here, that is extensor carpi radialis brevis. Okay, the next number over, in the brevis here, the BRE is the breakdancing part. Okay, then the next one over, this is extensor digitorum. Okay, number 20. Okay, then the next over is this little tiny muscle right there. It's labeled as number 31, just above the pin. When I say tiny, it's like really skinny. I mean, if you kind of zoom out, it's almost hard to see. It's that little tiny muscle running the length there. That's the extensor digiti minimi. Okay, number 31. And then we go around. Okay, we have, here we're going to use the minimi for the breakdancing muscles, the amen muscles. And then the last two we have are unless atrophied. So 32 is the U, that's extensor carpi ulnaris. Okay, then this one up here, this smaller muscle, is the Anconeus. And now there's an E in there, so Anconeus or Anconeus. I've heard people say Anconeus, so I think Anconeus is correct, but Anconeus I think is fine too. Either way, Anconeus might help, if you say it that way, it might help you spell it. So those are the muscles in the superficial posterior forearm. The deep muscles, there are 5. We have to actually take 2 of these compartments off in order to see them, so we have to take that off, take that one off, and there are 5 on the inside. In here, there's not really a good way to memorize these, the deep compartment here, but 3 of them are associated with making a thumb, or associated with moving the thumb. So that should help a little bit. All right, first up, this one right here, this big kind of muscle, this thing in the deep posterior forearm is called the supinator, number 34 there, the supinator muscle. Okay, the next muscle over, number 35, that is the adductor pollicis longus muscle. Then the next one over down here, number 36, if you can see that, number 36, nice and small muscle there. That's the extensor pollicis longus. And then technically, extensor pollicis brevis, which is its own muscle, is right in here, unlabeled though. Okay, so it's that muscle right there, just underneath the muscle from above. So it's right in there, a little hard to see. Okay, number 37, that muscle is the extensor indicis muscle, and that gives us our deep compartment. So supinator, extensor pollicis brevis, abductor pollicis longus, extensor pollicis longus, and extensor indicis. Those are the muscles there. So you see, they're all labeled except for the extensor pollicis brevis. It's a little hard to see. So supinator, and then adductor pollicis, abductor pollicis is ABD, abductor pollicis longus, extensor pollicis, in this case longus, okay, and then extensor indicis. The one that was missing was the extensor pollicis brevis, which is this tiny little muscle down in here you can't really see. All right, there they are. Those are the muscles of the forearm. Let me go ahead and put the, which is pretty easily or pretty readily considered one of the hardest parts of the body as far as muscles are concerned. It's definitely difficult. All right, now let's move back up to the upper arm. Now in the front here, we have the flexors of the elbow. The main flexor of the elbow is the brachialis muscle. That's this muscle here. And then the kind of assist in that is the biceps brachii. Now there are 2 heads of the biceps brachii. The more medial head, this side over here, is the short head. And then this side over here is the long head. So biceps means 2 heads. So short head, long head, short head, long head. Okay. There you go. This muscle up top there, that's the deltoid. Okay. Let's roll around the back of the arm. So those 2 muscles, the biceps brachii and the brachialis, those are synergistic muscles that help flex the elbow. On the back here is this 3-part muscle called the triceps brachii. Okay, 3 parts, 1, 2, and 3. Now, confusingly, it's a long head, medial head, and lateral head, where this is the medial head down here. Okay, this is the long head, and then this is the lateral head. So it's medial, long, and lateral. But the medial head actually kind of inserts in between the two. So it's medial, like intermediate between the two rather than the more medial side, because the more medial side is always going to be this long head, especially in anatomical position, which if you were like, let's just hold this thing in anatomical position, which would be like this, right? So the bicep is and the palms facing forward and the biceps is like this. So then that head that you see right there is the long head, and then down there is the medial head of the Triceps Brachii. So it's just a little bit funky the way that's set up, or the way that they're named. So just be aware. Okay, now I want to also point out this muscle here, this one on the inside. This kind of I always call it the armpit muscle. It's sorry about that. It runs like that. That's the Coracobrachialis. So brachialis meaning like muscle of the arm, and then coraco in reference to where it inserts there, or I'm sorry, where it originates there, which is the coracoid process of the scapula. Okay, then we're up into the shoulder here. So this is the scapula, or the medial edge of the scapula. So here in the subscapular fossa, that's the subscapularis muscle. Okay, subscapularis. And then if we flip this over, let's go ahead and take the deltoid off. There's a few muscles we can point out here. So we have this is the spine of the scapula. So above the spine, that's supraspinatus. Below the spine, that's infraspinatus. And then we have the two teres muscles. So we have Teres Major here. So Teres Major here, and then Teres Minor just above. Okay. There you go. And those are the muscles of the arm. Hopefully that helps. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you rock the house when those questions come up. All right, everyone. Catch you on the next one. Bye.